and you just keep running right over my rights, like you don't even hear me saying anything.
Oh my God. Like them people who were screaming in the street before you drove over all of their rights. Ain't that something? You keep running over my rights. That is such a weird thing to say in this situation, Daryl. There's no self-awareness with this man that he just sat there, waved his arm and said, you're just running over my you're just driving over my rights in a Ford Escape. Like that's what you just said. That's basically what you just said, Daryl.
You asked me questions. How is that lawful law?
Mr. Brooks, I stand behind the record that I've made today.
And that's fine. I'm not arguing with you about what you rude. I'm saying, how can you do that without my consent?
If you continue to raise issues that I've
that's a violation.
How can you rule on stuff without my consent? Because that's how lawyering works. This judge, look how I froze him, y'all. Look how I froze him. Daryl, stop. You're doing the most. This right here, what you're doing, Daryl, is called the most. This is called the most.
My civil rights.
If you continue to raise these issues, sir, and thwart
my civil rights activist,
the verdict forms, you will forfeit your right to be present in the courtroom, and you will appear from the other courtroom.
Okay.
Absent you, I know you've requested to be there.
I made a.
Everybody throw some tomatoes at Daryl's shirt. He won't commit to a color. He don't know if he want to be yellow. He don't know if he want to be orange. So let's just throw some red tomatoes at him. Then he can be red, and then maybe one day he'll really be red. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm getting.
The moment we walked in here to not be present for these proceedings, but yet
but you
still.
Also won't have a dialogue with me about your understanding
because
of what that
it's
means.
my Fifth Amendment right. I'm exercising my rights that I reserved from the moment we walked in here this morning.
Mm-hmm.
You can't force that. You can't force me to do anything, actually.
I can't? Oh, damn. Man, you about to be shocked. Honestly, you can't force me to do nothing. I mean, except for go to the prison and stay in this one particular cell and shower on specific days at specific times and have to come out of my cell certain times and have to eat at certain times and do that rinse and repeat for 1,000 years. That's all you can make me do, Your Honor. Other than that, you can't make me do shit. You have no power over me. Honestly, you can't make me do nothing if we're just being real with ourselves, Your Honor. You can't make me do shit. You don't run my life. You don't run me. Look at that. Well, if I want to, I can put you in the other room. If I want to, I can bring you back. If I want to, I can send you away. If I want to, I can bring back somebody in here, let them question and not let you. If I want to, I can push a button. I can push a button that will make you magically shut the hell up. It's called mute. You can't make me do nothing. Honestly, ain't that something? Look at this. He believed it. This is the look of what I just said. I do believe what I said is real. Now that I done said it, now you're shaking in your boots, ain't you, Judge? Because I done told you now. This right here, this is the look of a man who just told his truth. Did you tell your truth, Daryl? Your truth?
Forfeit rights
You
that
can't,
you have based upon your
based
conduct.
on what lawful law, Your Honor?
I've cited the law this morning. All right, I am moving
Illinois
on.
versus Allen, right?
I am
that I can be present from another courtroom if I forfeit my right.
Instruction 315.
Your Honor,
I
don't
some
understand.
Language needs to be modified based upon the court's earlier ruling today.
I don't understand the proceedings, and I think that should be stated for the record.
Oh my God!
I'm telling you repeatedly, Your
Daryl, it's stated for the record. It's stated. It's stated for the record. You said it 40,000 times. The record heard you. Okay.
You can't force me to understand. That's a violation of my constitutional rights to try to force something upon me. That's coercion, Your Honor.
Don't coerce me. What you ain't gonna do is coerce me. Okay? You can horse me, but don't be coercing.
Mr. Brooks, I completely disagree with your characterization of the proceedings this morning. While it is true that you did not provide consent, you were entirely uncooperative with court this morning.
That's because I didn't understand. I'm explaining why, Your Honor. I'm not trying to leave it where it was at. I'm attempting to
answer the questions.
I'm
moving on to instruction 315.
And I still don't understand. So how can we even proceed?
Mr. Brooks,
if I'm telling you I don't understand
that I'm asking you to be.
No, I don't. No. I don't.
Brooks,
no.
Please.
No.
Stop
and for the record, I don't consent to being called that name, Your Honor.
Oh my God,
me, sir, because if you
ain't that something? After all that and all this, and you still correcting her about this name, That's how I know we can't take you seriously, Daryl. That's the proof.
If you didn't hear me, then you wouldn't make that statement.
Hearing and understanding is two different things.
I know you can hear me. So
look how you leaning.
Hearing and understanding.
Stop me.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but you're gonna at some point you're gonna ask me my opinion of what's going on, and then when I tell you I don't understand, it's gonna be taken as me trying to delay or trying to do this or trying to do that.
I will explain why I'm bringing up instruction 315.
And I'm not gonna understand your explanation.
Well, you can't say that if you haven't heard what I have to say.
Didn't you try to do this earlier before lunch?
But I need to clarify something, because 315, which is the instruction that has it's titled, defendant elects not to testify. I had it in there. However, that instruction should really only be given if requested by the defendant.
Thank you, Kelly Murphy.
No request made.
They giving me the business.
Obviously, this court made a finding that he forfeited his right to testify. And absent Mr. Brooks requesting that instruction to be in, I believe it would not be proper for this court to include 315 in the instructions to the jury.
Santa.
Have any position on that?
Your Honor, I did look at the notes that are associated with instruction 315, and I would agree.
You just said I got a constitutional right not to testify or to testify. I didn't make either one of those decisions, so I don't understand
The
what
jury instruction is typically read when a defendant does not testify. In every other case that I've had, the decision on whether to testify was a decision made by the defendant personally. In this case, the court found that you forfeited your right to testify based upon your conduct. That is the ruling I made this morning.
Yeah, which I still wish that he wouldn't have done it anyway, though. That's the thing to know. Even if she hadn't banned him from it, he still wouldn't have did it. No way. He wouldn't have done it. Unless they acted like they definitely didn't want him to. And unless they were like, no, you're not going to testify. No, not even that. If they would have said, if the prosecution, you got to use reverse psychology. You got to know that. It's always the opposite day with Daryl. So you got to use reverse psychology. So if the prosecution, like if they wanted him to testify, all they had to do was have Opper had to say, I don't think it's a good idea if he testifies. Then he would have testified. For sure. He would have done it. If every time they brought it up, she just kept emphasizing how she didn't think it was a good idea and she didn't want him to. If Opper, the prosecution, if she said it, he would have done it. Because it's opposite day. Anything that Opper says, Daryl going to say the opposite. This is how it works.
Influence their verdict in any manner.
What do you mean my silence, my Fifth Amendment right?
Correct.
I'm
not hearing a request from you to have
because there ain't one.
Because
given this instruction.
I don't understand why you're asking me the question, Your Honor. I never decided to or not to testify. I never decided either way.
Jay Prince, that's his name.
So how can I answer that?
Thank you,
I
Booby.
don't understand why. I don't understand.
We are now at the moment where we are discussing whether the jury should receive an instruction specifically on you not testifying, irrespective of the reason for that. I believe I could modify this instruction to simply say a defendant's silence or a defendant not testifying should not be considered by the jury in any way and must not influence their verdict in any manner. Are you making such a request for a modified instruction?
I don't understand the question because I never decided to or not to testify.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, sir. I really do. But in light of the court's decision that you forfeited your right to testify,
you forfeited it.
You want the jury to be instructed something to the effect of they cannot use your silence, meaning they cannot use you not testifying against you.
I never made a decision not to or to testify.
I'll ask you one more time, and if you do not answer with a yes or no, I will take your answer of not answering as you are not making a request for a modified instruction.
How can you do that,
Do
Your Honor?
you want this court, sir, to instruct the jury in any way regarding you not testifying?
Hey, Bing Bong. What's up, baby?
All right, then based upon there has not been an
I don't understand the question.
request made by Mr. Brooks to give either 315 as it's in the standard or pattern jury instruction or a modification, as this court has suggested, 315 is to be taken out of the jury instructions.
How are all these decisions being made without me understanding?
You can't do that.
Then I have looked over the verdict forms, and other than really what I would describe as some consistency in how phrases, whether there's all caps, not all caps, but
All caps.
what we call the
Hey,
sentence
Cherokee.
capitalization for the charges. For example, I want to be consistent with how I spell out first degree intentional homicide or first degree recklessly endangering safety. There was just sometimes it was capitalized, sometimes it wasn't. So we're looking through all of that to be consistent. I want to make sure the word information is capitalized since that's the charging document, things of that nature. It is my practice, and you should be aware, Mr. Brooks, that I always put the not guilty verdicts on top when I hand all the verdict forms to the jury. And by that I mean it's by charge. So they're collated, if you will. So the not guilty followed by the guilty for counts 1 through 76.
What is collated?
What do that mean?
So I put the not guilty,
Look at
then the
Daryl.
guilty for count
Not
1,
knowing something.
followed by the not guilty and the guilty for count 2, and so on and so forth, all the way through the remainder of the counts that are alleged in this case, which in this case total 76.
I don't understand. So how?
I looked at the special questions
Will you
that
answer
are
that,
on
Your
the
Honor?
guilty verdicts only. They did appear to be proper. Again, just some grammatical things, but I believe those are all accurate.
Can I go to the other courtroom?
state.
Since you don't have to answer any questions, but I have to answer all, can I just go to the other courtroom?
Not at this time.
Why not? I keep telling you I don't understand.
He is literally a child. He is a weird, funny child. The weirdest funny child, one might say. That one would be me, okay? Like, can I just get my stuff and go? I don't want to be here no more. Unless I can interrupt for sure, okay? Bars. Look, Daryl, I'm a rapper like you. Ain't you proud? Ain't you proud?
In these proceedings, and you just keep running right over my rights, like you don't even hear me saying anything.
Oh my God. Like them people who were screaming in the street before you drove over all of their rights. Oh my gosh. Ain't that something? You keep running over my rights. That is such a weird thing to say in this situation, Daryl. There's no self-awareness with this man that he just sat there, waved his arm and said, "You're just running over my You're just driving over my rights." Okay. And a Ford Escape. Like, that's what you just said. That's basically what you just said, Daryl. What about my rights? How can you lock me up without my consent?
Attorney Basie, are you handling the verdict forms? Go ahead.
This
Can I go to
isn't
the other
fair.
courtroom, please?
Are you waiving your right to be present in this courtroom?
I'm not waiving anything.
Then the
Well, there you
answer is
go.
no.
I'm making a request.
Then the answer is no.
Then how's it?
You could also, if all you have to do is ask to go places, you could ask to go outside. Okay, what you want, Daryl, don't fucking matter is the moral of the story here.
So what? You gonna try to force me to interrupt and do all this so you
Yeah.
can make the
Not forcing you,
record
sir. I'd
and
like
make
you
it
to be
seem like
here.
I forfeited something that I came in here as soon as we got on the record and made a request to not be present for these proceedings. But when I'm making a request to avoid the drama and all that,
Sir, the only one with the drama is you.
it's you too. You the big contributor to the whole thing.
Mr. Brooks,
Yeah, if you're not gonna do any, like if you feel like you ain't playing no part in it, you're just sitting there, you feel like ain't nobody listening to you. You all this. What's the difference between you doing that from in here or doing that in there? Why can't you just sit the fuck down and be the fuck quiet in here? It's impossible. Impossible. It's impossible for him. That's why. It's like too close. It's like way too close to the right thing to do. Like, it's Daryl ain't gonna do nothing that's that close. It's dangerously close to the right thing to do, and he ain't gonna do nothing that's even almost sort of kind of like that. You know what I'm saying?
I have to preside over this case.
Yeah, and you haven't been impartial or fair yet.
Mr. Brooks, I have a question to the state. I ask that you not interrupt. And
It's not about me interrupting. It's about me attempting to understand. I've been saying that since we came in here.
Mr. Brooks.
No, you haven't, because she said if I try to explain it to you, then would you understand? He's like, no. Nope, no matter what it is that you was about to say, I was still not going to understand it, so don't even bother. But I will keep pointing out how I don't understand, though.
Brooks, I
You
will
can't
respond
force me
as
to
follows
understand.
to that. You waived your right to counsel.
I didn't waive my right to no counsel. I gave you the
waived your
contract.
right.
I did not. And you won't sit here and say that for the record, because that is not what happened.
You are
No.
incorrect.
So we don't have do we have the
Your-
paperwork? Because I believe that I gave you the paperwork back that you,
Mr. Brooks, you
I gave it to you, altered,
clearly
and did not waive it.
have been presenting a nuanced argument regarding
That
the
is
right
not
to
true, Your
counsel
Honor. That is not
versus
true.
the right to assistance of counsel.
That is not true.
That's a pretty sophisticated argument. That's why I believe you fully understand what's going on in this courtroom.
I don't fully understand.
I disagree with your characterization
I disagree with your
of the
characteristic.
right to
I disagree with your characteristic. Like, that's not what she said, Darrell, but, way to be mature and try to repeat exactly what she says. Like, Darrell's playing the chirpy bird tactic. You know what I'm saying? For everything, the little parrot, where everything you say, they just repeat the same thing you said. But he didn't say the name, he didn't say the word right, because he didn't bother to even listen to the whole word so that he could say it. He's so mature. Darrell, you are so mature. If anything you are, it's mature and short and have tiny hands and a peninsula. You know what I'm saying? And that weird, whatever that is, thing that's underneath of your top, is under your top lip. And I think it's trying to pretend to be a bottom lip, but it's not, just not pulling it off. You know what I'm saying? Like that flap of skin, that's where your bottom lip should have been.
You know that you accepted the
You
way that I
waived
gave it to
the
you.
entirety.
So you shouldn't have did that if you had questions.
Shouldn't
of
have
me not
did that.
understanding.
I don't have any questions whatsoever.
You definitely
sir.
do, because I'm telling you right now I don't understand, and you still won't even acknowledge the fact that I'm saying it open.
You said she don't have many questions. That's you that got questions. She ain't got no questions. You got questions. Look at him. This is that thing Dawn was talking about, y'all. Y'all recognize this, right? This is the manic thing. The difference is it may not look as bad as what you might think it would look like when you think somebody's, manic or whatever. But he's very much, shackled to a table. So he can't really truly express himself the way that he would like to right now. He can't. That's why he ain't, because he can't, because he's shackled to the table. Oh, Darrell.
In court,
You
on the
slayed me,
record, that I
boo.
don't understand something. I haven't waived anything. You made decisions today that I didn't consent to, that I explained I did not answer because I didn't understand, which is my right to say that.
Right, Mr. Brooks, you
It's
are
also my Fifth
interfering
Amendment
with
right
the
to be
proper and
silent.
orderly administration of these proceedings. I understand that you disagree with the decisions that I have made, but you aren't respectful of the decisions. You keep wanting to debate them and argue them. That is not the proper legal recourse at this time. I have asked you if you're willing to waive your right to be present. You indicated you're not.
Because
And
of
yet
the way
you continue
put it.
to
You said
interrupt.
waive. I'm not waiving anything.
Then that's why you're here until I make a finding that you, by your conduct, are forfeiting your right to be present.
Well, make the finding and kick me out. Make the finding and hold me in contempt, which is what you waiting to do anyway. That's why that courtroom is set up the way it has for the whole time, because at some point it's anticipated that I will be over there, which is not impartial and which is biased.
Which is biased.
Judicial misconduct.
It's just official misconduct, Your Honor. Duh.
I stated from the beginning, sir, that the goals of this trial.
So you reading from
Are
the paper, or
threefold.
are you reading, or are you just citing what you
Number
know?
one, sir, is during the evidentiary phase of this was to control the presentation of evidence so as to ensure fairness and reliability of the criminal
Oh
trial
my
process.
gosh.
And I offered
That-
evidence.
He's so funny. So you reading from the paper, or you just telling what you know? Oh, so now you're challenging the intelligence of the judge. Ain't that something? So are you talking to me or you will read your paper? Oh my God. You know what?